Okay, sorry about the sound issue. Once again, we'll do a fresh open before we come back on. I'm sorry about everything. I don't know what happened. The USB, something was crazy. I don't know. Maybe it was Zuckerberg coming in. I'm going to start it off with a Newsday article for everybody jumping on the stream. So once again, we have right here the Newsday article. It's Lane Filler. You can see what he says right up here in the article. Hyper-conservative Facebook group that increasingly swings local races, Long Island loud majority, and then he begins to talk about the Smithtown election. I am going to introduce our special guest in just a moment. I'm going to scroll over to the other side and show you what Lane Filler is talking about, because Lane Filler apparently is very scared. Take a look at down here in the article. A post caught fire on social media. Three moms who were upset by it had the backing of Long Island loud majority and a raft of local Republicans. Marie Gurgenti, Teresa Grisafi, and Marilyn Lopresti. Those were the three who crushed it in the Smithtown Library election. They got in the race. The online back and forth became toxic and vicious, according to Filler. And that's not because of us. That's because of the toxic and vicious person who attacked small businesses in the town of St. James. That wasn't because of the loud majority. We came in and said we should probably keep those decisions out of lunch, let alone a $16 million library budget. The online back and forth became vicious, and the Long Island loud majority backed candidates whipped the incumbents Robinson and Kulari last week with a total turnout at least 3 times higher than usual. So last week, last Wednesday and last Tuesday and Wednesday and those elections that went on last week was a We the People moment for the people of Long Island, and we are going to have another We the People moment over on Long Island coming up on November 2nd. It is my honor. I'm very excited to introduce a guy you know very well. He's been at our rallies many, many times. He is running for District 7, Suffolk County Legislature, District 7. Special guest, Dominick Thorne. Dominick, welcome to We Will Not Comply, live from the America First Media Campus.
Hello, folks. How are you? I'm so honored and privileged. I believe I'm your first guest ever. So hopefully you'll remember me when you become big and famous. Most of you know me. I'm Dominick Thorne. I'm running to be the legislator in the 7th Legislative District to restore some kind of semblance of sanity to this county. So it's such an honor and a privilege to be with all of you today, to be with my friend Sean, and you guys keep doing what you're doing, because it may upset some people, but America is going to be better for it.
That's awesome. So everybody say hello to Dominick in the chat. I know everyone knows who he is. There we go. Everyone's saying, hey, there's Rose, a couple of people. Hi, Dominick. So you guys know Dom, and Dom's obviously somebody who you've seen a lot. And I got to tell you, I look at his Facebook posts. I look at all of the different things that he's putting up on his socials and everything. And he's out every single day, rain or shine. And there are people, Kevin Quinn, you did say was one of the people that's out there and is helping you out. So shout out to Kevin Quinn, but he's out there every single day, and you can start to see the volunteers that are helping on his campaign emulating that work ethic. And that's a big deal, so folks like Dom, folks like Vicky out in District 19, Ray Tierney's out there, Steph is out there, Steph Bontempi's out there in Huntington. They're working their tails off, and we're working behind the scenes as well, trying to get the word out. And you can see that local media. Now, I want you to think Newsday, right? Newsday's been around for how many years? How many years have they been around? 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years?
Somewhere in that range. Yeah.
Right? So they've been there. They've been around for a long time. Newsday has been around forever. And yet here they are. There's an opinion article. What do you think? An opinion article who's afraid of little old me.
Well, yeah. It's kind of funny. I don't think they're just afraid of you. They're afraid of people that are rising up and taking control of every level of government, because enough is enough. Taxpayers have had enough. The American people have had enough, and it doesn't really matter if you're Republican or Democrat. People, and some of those Kennedy Democrats, I like to call them, but the old school Democrats are not happy with the socialism. They're not happy with the left wing view on every single thing, and people are rising up. And pay attention, because we're going to win this race. And I'm going against a heavy entrenched Democrat, but we're going to win this race. And then we're going to take, and God willing, my lips to God's ears, we're going to get a guy like Lee Zeldin in our government mansion. And it's because of groups just like this. It's because of Americans that stand forward and just kind of go at it and say, no, we're not going to be silent anymore. The very name of your agency, loud majority, because we are the loud majority. We are the people that are paying the tax. We believe in the police. We believe in our fire rescue. We believe in our nurses and doctors shouldn't lose their job if they make a medical decision not to take a shot. This is what we believe in. I've been proud to be associated with your group from the very beginning.
From the beginning.
I make no bones about it. I'm not a middle of the road politician. God, I hope never to be. I'm just not a middle of the road guy. Right is right. Wrong is wrong. If it's upset somebody or upsets my competitor, oh, well, it upsets you, buddy. But the fact of the matter is that we need people in government that are going to stand up for what's right all of the time and not try to run to the center to grab a few more votes from maybe somebody that's in the middle. And it's not about all right. It's not necessarily all every person that sits in my parties. And I'm proud I have the Republican and conservative line. Sean, I make no bones about it. I'm a proud Republican. I'm very, very proud to be a Republican candidate. I'm proud to carry the conservative line as well. But at the end of the day, I will work for the people. And best of all, Sean, I have no special interest money in my pocket.
Amazing.
I met with all of those folks, all those groups. I'm proud of the work that a lot of our folks do out in the street, and our county workers and our state workers and everybody. But when I met with them, I said, listen, I would love your endorsement because you think I'm going to do a better job. But do me a favor, hold on to your check. I don't want your check. I just don't think it's right. Whereas my competitor has a pocket full of checks in special interest. So you have to wonder. You have to ask yourself a question. What is he going to vote for or against when it's something that involves that particular group?
Right.
And he's going to vote for the check instead of for the people. And so I'm very proud of that. We've had a great campaign. I love being at your events. I don't think I've missed many of them. If I have,
no,
it'd be a rare event because I enjoy it. I enjoy sitting with other patriots. So God bless this group and everything you're doing.
Awesome. Thank you. And look, I was saying this to you the other day. I said, there are people from Nassau County who have seen you at everything and they know that. They go, who is that? He wears the red shirt. I said, it's Tom Thorne. They go, oh, yeah, he's awesome. And I'm like, they're like, well, what can we do to help? I'm like, well, you're from Nassau. You can come out and walk for him if you want, but you can't vote for him. Unfortunately, you can donate, you can walk from him. But it's like, everyone knows you, Dom. And that's what I'm talking about. There are some of our politicians, there are people, just everyday people that don't know who their reps are.
Right.
And then there are people that come to our events and they know who their reps aren't, like they know you. And I'm saying, how do they know the guy from Patchogue that's walking around every day? Because he's at everything, and that's one thing that, I always say about a few of the politicians that we've dealt with sometimes, if more people know my face than their face, there's a problem. It's not my job to represent the people.
Absolutely correct.
I'm sitting and unfortunately that's the case in some of these districts in Long Island. I mean, it's not just because I went in the supermarket and made a funny video in front of a bare shelf. It's like, we've been out there Kevin, Heather, myself, the whole group, we've been out there for the last 57 weeks or so, yep. Right? Straight. I don't know if we've missed more than a week or two at a time. Yeah, I mean, even I went hunting and I was upstate last November and Max Public House got shut down and I had them calling me from Long Island and I was in a tree like, what do you guys want? I'm looking for a deer. And they're like, you got to make a post. We need thousands of people outside of Max Public House. I'm sitting up in close to Oneonta, New York, and they're rallying outside the pub in Staten Island. And it was crazy. There is something, we don't stop. And a lot of people ask, how'd the group get started? No, yeah, you got started around Donald Trump. And, they try to paint you a certain way because of Donald Trump, orange man. He's the boogeyman. I say, yeah, we did get started around Donald Trump. But once the election was over and we passed it and we got through, February 30th, the Capitol Day, which we don't say the actual date. We say February 30th or we say the day between January 5th and January 7th, because if you say the real date, you get shut down. Oh, yeah. So, but we get past all of those different things.
So much for freedom of speech.
Right. Oh, yeah, right. But you get past all those different things. We get past all those modes. And it's like, well, now what? Okay, well, we have people don't understand there are elections every year. There's something to vote on all the time. It's either your school boards in May, your local races in November. We're in an off year right now. And so we decided we were going to jump in. And Kevin comes up to me and goes, you got to meet this guy, Tom Thorne. You're going to love him. He's got a great attitude. He's got a lot of energy. You're going to love him. And I said, okay, cool. It's great. And he was right. 100%. A lot of energy, great attitude. You're always at our events. Everybody knows you. Work ethic is off the charts. And not to mention, and I know this person is gone, but your opponent, Rob Calarco, is somebody who was very loyal to Andrew Cuomo and was a big Cuomo. We call him the Cuomo lapdog, and that's terminology that I believe we borrowed from you, and I like it. And I think a lot of these people that are listening, it'll resonate with them because we still, he may not be in there right now, but his replacement is basically him wearing a dress. And it's not any better. So why don't we expand on kind of the ties between your opponent, Rob Calarco, and Andrew Cuomo?
I got to tell you, I was amazed. I know all politics is, they say all politics is local.
Mm-hmm.
And you never think that the local Suffolk County guy is up with, AOCs or the Biden administration or the Governor Cuomo. But it's in fact very true. Jen Harrison, New York Victims PAC. Hey, Jen, she posted a photo of this of our county legislator leaving a fundraiser or an event with Cuomo 3 weeks before he resigns. 3 weeks. How do you associate yourself with this man 3 weeks before you knew he was going to have to leave office? I mean, it wasn't like, oh, there might be some allegations. We knew what the allegations were. We knew what the problem was. And honestly, it's been going on for years. And his bullying has been going on for years. But you still associate yourself with them. And, I listen, I have known people that that maybe have gotten themselves in some kind of trouble, but this is monumental. This is monumental. How do you put the face of Suffolk County on that mess? It's ridiculous. I'm bewildered how it can happen. I didn't take the photo. Jen Harrison, New York Victims PAC did, and she did an outstanding job. She stood out there and took the photos, but oh my God, how can you? I mean, now we're going to game plan. Now you want to work? It's absurd. It's absurd. He shouldn't have been there. We shouldn't have been tied to Cuomo mess, though we are. And listen, do not believe for 1 second, not 1 second, that the Suffolk County Democrat Committee, and many of them are socialists, many of them working on that Working Families Party, which is clearly socialism, clearly anti-police, clearly anti-America rhetoric, and they are very clearly a organized group from Albany, from Suffolk County, straight up to really the White House. And we have to make sure that we defend our county. And I will not back down. You know me.
Oh, yeah.
I don't back down. I did this 2 years ago. Came in with some large numbers, which is not the reason why I'm running this time. The reason I'm running this time is, a lot of the same reasons, but my two little girls, your children, children in general. Sorry, I didn't know if you. But at the end of the day, we have to make sure that we start protecting our island. We have to worry about county spending. I don't know if you know, but my competitor put a law that he had passed and started in 2017. He kept pushing it through. $1.8 million to fund legislative campaigns.
Just a fun campaigns.
Just a fun campaigns. $1.8 million. Well, the next time you hit a pothole on a Long Island Expressway, and we'll get to the state roads, but even if you hit a pothole on a county road and you're sitting there on the side of the road changing your tire, you can tag my competitor because he wants to use public funds to fund campaigns. So I push him for an answer. I want to know, where's the money coming from? We are 62 out of 62. That makes us the worst in the state for financial outlook. You don't get any worse than us. you really don't.
So you're at zero.
Suffolk County, we're the worst.
Wow.
As far as financial outlook. And he said, well, it comes from the campaigns. And it's not really tax dollars. It's actually revenue we get from the casino. I got to tell you, it doesn't matter. Public funds is public funds.
Public funds is public funds.
At the end of the day, you know what we could do with that? We could fix roads. We can put more cops on our streets. We can, how about we supply more funding to our brave men and women in fire and EMS that went through this whole pandemic. And a lot of their budgets are stretched because they paid for all their PPE.
Right.
Some of them got some reimbursement back, but let's put some money into that. I mean, there's so many things we can spend money on, and we're going to spend campaigns, and it's fairness, Sean. It's fairness and election integrity. How is that fair? So let me tell you how it works. It's really cool. Yeah, according to this law that he wrote, this piece of junk law that he wrote, honestly, because I'm infuriated by it. Everyone
should be infuriated
absolutely,
by it.
Absolutely. So according to this law, here's what happens. They you like Party X. You like that candidate, you love him. So you donate $100. Now the county will match it by 4. So your $100 donation goes to $500. 400 of it is coming out of our tax fund. How do we do that when people can't put bread and food on their table?
Right.
Then where is the common sense in this? It just makes no common sense. And this is what we're going to bring to government. I don't want to tie up your show, but Lord, I am fired up about this.
No, that's good.
I can't believe that we have government officials using your money to fund their campaigns. It is absolutely absurd what's going on.
You're supposed to ask for donations, right? People can fund their money. Government can use your money to fund their campaigns if you willingly give it to them.
Right.
But this shady kind of, let's pass a law, and it sounds like he's just kind of reallocating taxpayer dollars that are just kind of sitting around to pay for him to get reelected.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Listen, there's one party rule in the state. There's one party, the Democrats have controlled Suffolk County since 2005. Now, I ask all your listeners, are we any better?
I don't think so.
Are we any better?
Build back better.
Build back worse is what's going on.
Yeah.
But are your roads better? Is it easy to live out here? Yeah, we talk about gas prices. A big chunk of that is county taxes coming on per gallon, just so you know. We are the worst I have seen it. And we don't get better, we just get worse. And they keep telling us, no, it's good. We've got it under control. Well, my competitor's been there for 10 years. When are you going to get it under control?
Doesn't seem like it's under control. I just got a flat tire a couple weeks ago because of one of those potholes. I wasn't in your district, but I mean, it was the size of Rosie O'Donnell. It was the size, big. Okay, it was a huge pothole, and the tire. I was like, what are we paying for in this state? Where are all these taxes going? And obviously, we know where it's going. It's going to programs like the Green Light Act, and now they're flying immigrants into the look. I don't have, and I want to make sure we clear this one up because they love to take things out of context. I have, and we, as an organization and our people, as far as I understand us, don't have a problem with immigrants, okay? We don't have a problem with immigration. We don't have a problem with people coming into the country as long as it's legal. But why are we dropping off plane loads of immigrant kids, not just adults, but their children, their unaccompanied minors that are being flown into New York State in the dead of the night when planes are not supposed to fly into some of these airports? Because if you think about it, if you live near an airport and it's 3 a.m, they have their own curfews or stuff like that because residents don't want to be woken up by a jet flying over their house at 3 o'clock. Right. So now you have this happening all across the state. Lee Zeldin has chimed in on it. And we're instead of fixing roads or funding things like this, instead of, building up our infrastructure, really actually, quote unquote, building back better, we're funding things like, flying illegal immigrant children, unaccompanied kids that just came across the southern border. Do we know their vaccination status? Not that, in my view, not that really matters. I don't ask people their vaccination status because I'm not a Nazi who asks for papers. That's not what I do, right?
Not my business.
And I would say this too. If you are vaccinated, here's how you could take a stand against the mandates. Never show papers. I don't care if you're going to a wedding. I don't care if you're going to a dinner. I don't care if you're going into if someone invites you to a dinner in New York City and you're vaccinated and you can get into that establishment, but they're checking papers at the door, don't go. Never show papers, because even if you're vaccinated, it doesn't matter. I'm vaccinated. At least I don't have to get the shot to go in. You still have to prove to somebody that you're allowed to do something, a basic societal activity like go to a bar in New York City or go to a Broadway show, and you have to show papers to do it. So I would say if you are vaccinated, much like Dan Bongino's doing, he's going to get fired from Cumulus Media because he said it's either you repeal your mandates or I'm taking my ratings and I'm walking. And so basically they're going to say, well, see, somebody's going to snap them up. Somebody's going to go, okay, well, all we got to do is say we don't require a vaccine and we get Dan Bongino. If I was any other media company right now, I'd have him on the phone saying, Dan, here's a blank check. I know you're going to bring he has millions of followers. His podcast is downloaded over 1 million times a day, right? These radio stations are going to kill it if they bring on a guy like that. Now, you look at what's going on in Long Island. You look at what's going on in New York City, specifically thanks to Bill de Blasio, right? And someone's got to ask Eric Adams someone's got to ask Curtis Sliwa, both of these candidates, what they're going to do about the mandates in New York City. Because if I'm telling you right now, if someone can get Curtis Sliwa on record, because I know Eric Adams already is all about the mandate. If someone can get Curtis on record saying, I will repeal the vaccine mandate, he could win that race. Because do you see these rallies in New York City? The New York Freedom Rally group that's out there, there's like hundreds, almost thousands of people that are showing up every Sunday, taking over Times Square. There's a big one going across the Brooklyn Bridge next week at 11:30 in the morning. You know, the FDNY and the NYPD guys that are fired. You know, people have had enough. And when you look at New York City, those are the people that are going to be able to vote for mayor. I wish we could vote for mayor. We go to the city enough that we would want to be able to vote for mayor. But all we could do is tell people to get out and tell their friends to get out and vote for mayor in New York City, just like we can say get out in District 7, go vote for Dominick Thorne. But if you can get these guys, they're going to have a debate. If you can get these guys to come on, and Eric Adams comes on and says, I'm going to keep the mandate, and Curtis Sliwa comes on and says, I'm going to end the mandate. And again, I don't know, I know Curtis's campaign manager, and he's a brilliant man, and I'm sure they've had these conversations, and I'm sure there's a way that they're going to tackle this issue. But if you look at it, that is something that will really get New York City excited. There was a video that I saw on the NY Freedom Rally Twitter where these people were marching down the road, and there was an FDNY truck there, and everyone started cheering and it was, by the way, a very diverse crowd. Before you go, it was a white supremacist. You look at this whole thing, it was a very diverse crowd in New York City, and they were cheering when they saw the FDNY truck. It kind of reminded me of 2001, right after 9/11, when everybody was, pro first responder, pro America, pro police, pro fire department, the whole thing. And so the fire truck, gave them a little honk on the horn. They blew the horn, and the people went berserk. This city is ready to turn over. They're ready to do it. And I think it's not just if you're seeing that action in New York City, you know that there are people who feel similarly to us out here. And so how many years has Clarko been involved over in District 7? How many years has he been in power?
So he's been there 10 years he's been in office.
And how have things gone over the last 10 years?
So much better. Much campaigns.
Yeah.
Much better, yeah.
I mean, it's great.
It fires me up. But, while we're on the mandates too, and as you know, I had 25 years of volunteer EMS work. And Sean and I ran into some of the best nurses and doctors in the country right here in Suffolk County, right in our local hospitals. And I got to tell you, another thing I'm fired up about, these are people, by the way, that wore garbage bags at the beginning of the pandemic.
Yes, when they had no PPE, they
they
were wearing garbage bags. By the way,
thanks to Lee Zeldin, who got it here.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, these people worked through the pandemic. They're worried about bringing it home to their kids, their husbands, their families, their aunts, their Aunt Tilly. They worked through the whole pandemic. And these are medical professionals that made a medical decision not to get the vaccine. And what did they do? Listen, sorry, Nancy, please, Pelosi, what she said, we let them keep their jobs. I guess we don't let them keep their jobs.
But just like you couldn't keep your doctor when Obama said you'll keep your doctor.
Keep your doctor.
And you'll keep your plan. And what happened? Everyone lost their doctors and lost their plans.
But now, it's scary. We're losing nurses and doctors at alarming rates because they have made a medical decision not to take the vaccine. They're not saying they won't wear a mask around patients.
Right.
They won't say they won't put on an N95 respirator that we have for them to wear. They're not saying any of those things. They're just saying, I don't believe in this vaccine. And Sean, I'll tell all your viewers, because I'm not ashamed of it. I took the vaccine, but I will stand shoulder to shoulder and walk any street and talk to anybody or stand up for the rights of your American rights to say no to this.
Right.
This is not mumps, rubella, polio vaccine. That is a proven thing. This thing is like, a year old?
It's barely a year old.
Barely a year old.
Barely a year old.
No, you must take it. And, that knucklehead in the White House. So we're going to force it down. Listen, pal, maybe you don't know, but this is America. And there's American citizens like myself, like Sean, like all of you out there in the listening audience that will not stand down. Don't stand down. Don't back up. Don't let them grab an inch of ground. And what you said about not showing your medical card to someone that,
papers, right?
I want to know if you're vaccinated. So my answer to that is, hey, what's your social security number?
Right.
And they say to me, that's private. I say, well, so is my medical information. Have a great day.
That's it.
And I walk past them.
Great job. I mean, that's a good point, And again, look, Dom's vaccinated. That's okay. And by the way, he's here, and he's you feel good, right?
Yeah, I feel great.
So look, if you want
A
to
little
get
tired, but great.
listen, that's not the vaccine. Well, maybe it is. It's
Yeah,
like
that's even if
there's
it
no
can't be.
tail that's growing in or anything like that.
No, I checked. I had my doctor look at me. I don't have a third eyeball or anything, so we should be good.
Very good. So, I always say too, if you're vaccinated, that's okay. If it's your choice to go get vaccinated, that's your choice, and you do
That's right.
you.
Sure, yeah.
This is the United States
Do
of
what you think is
America.
right.
I'm not going to criticize Dom for getting vaccinated. I don't know if he has if a condition or if he just wanted it. That's okay. I don't want to get it because I have antibodies and I don't feel like I personally need it. So I make the choice to not get vaccinated
You
at
have
this
an
time.
immune system for a reason.
Right. And Dom got it. So it's okay. Look, we're coexisting. Everything is okay.
I'll have a beer with this guy any day of the week.
We're in a good spot. So it's like, but again, there is no reason for force. Dan Bongino,
Right.
same thing. He's vaccinated. He's a cancer survivor. He had to get the vaccine.
Right.
He was told
Sure.
by his doctor he had to get the vaccine. However, that he still could have made the conscious decision not to do it. He did risk assessment and he got his vaccination. You decided and came to the conclusion to get your vaccination.
Sure.
And by the way, you're well within your right to do that.
Right.
For anybody who doesn't want to get the vaccination, you just as much of a right as Dominic had to get it. You have the right to not get it, except in this Jim COVID separate but equal era of post-pandemic mandates.
Right.
No, you don't have these choices anymore.
Sure.
I mean,
you remember M1H1?
the flu. Yeah.
Remember the swine flu and all the other ones we were going to get?
Right.
We're all going to die.
Right.
End of the world.
Well,
right?
did you
Now
hear
listen,
this?
COVID's real.
In England,
It's real.
in England, there's
Don't get
something
too
spreading.
excited.
They're spreading something in England. There's something that's going around called the super cold.
The super cold.
Did you hear about that?
I did not. That's pretty cool.
So there's apparently a super
I guess
cold.
there'll be a vaccine for that.
Yeah, there's apparently a super cold that's going around the UK, and a lot of people are asking the question. Well, maybe it's because we've been kind of so afraid of every germ now,
Sure.
despite the fact
Right.
the virus is real, like you said.
Yeah.
And
It's
it
a real
has
virus.
it's definitely deadly
Yep.
in some senses, maybe not in the grand sense that the media is painting this picture, but
Right.
it definitely has the ability to kill people. Nobody's disputing that.
No.
I'm not disputing that it's not out there. I had it.
And by the way, and Sean, listen, I definitely am a man of God. I haven't hidden that at all, and my heart pours out to them. My heart pours out to those families that have lost ones, and I can never say enough or comfort them enough. There's no right words when you lose a husband or daughter or a wife or grandma. But at the end of the day, it has to be about freedom, and we cannot give up an inch. Not an inch of our freedom. Ronald Reagan, freedom is no more than one generation from extinction.
One generation.
And we have to be the generation that stands up and says, you're not taking it from us. You're not. I met with a lady named Lulu Carter the other day. She does some whole schooling, and she's of the mandates that she's against the mandates as I am, local lady and some other folks. And they said, you have no problem standing next to me. No. And listen, I have two beautiful little girls. That drug will not be going to my kids. I took it because I'm meeting thousands upon thousands of people,
Of course,
on a weekly basis. And, I have a concern medically that I want to take care of. And no, I'm not dying. And Clarko, this will be your next mail piece. I know all about it, blah, blah, blah. And I don't care, by the way. Send your mail pieces out. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you say about me, like you did the last time, attacking my dead wife and mailers.
Unbelievable.
At the end of the day, I promise you that I will not back down. I will not go away. I'll not weather into the night, because our American people and our residents are worth it. Now, you heard that directly from my mouth.
That's it. I mean, and it's not just, Dom doesn't just flap the gums, right? He actually backs it up with action. And so that's important. And that's something that a lot of politicians don't do. And we always say that you had mentioned it before, politics really is local. And look, if you don't get out there, if you're in District 7, November 2nd, and get out there and vote for Dom Thorne, you're going to be stuck with what you've been stuck with in District 7 for the last 10 years, which is
how's that working out?
Yeah, right. Which is roads that are falling apart, taxpayer money that's going to fund reelection campaigns. It's just and this is a law that he wrote. More mandates. The party of mandates. I call the Democrats the party of death. Sometimes that's a little, and they say that's a little intense, but I don't think so. When you look at how they fund Planned Parenthood, when you look at what they did to the nursing homes, right? These are all, and when you look at when they want to talk about systemic racism, because that's one thing that they love to say, once we start making noise, everything's a racist, which is why it's funny because Donald Trump is starting that new social media network called Truth Social, which is great. Everyone goes, that's a stupid name. I said, no, it's a brilliant name because Orange Man bad, right? You have to remember these people still have TDS. So what happens is they still get very upset with everything that, it's an uncurable disease. They have, unless you take the red pill, they have TDS. And so they get excited and all, like they start foaming, and then the it's all over the place. They got to change their clothes. It's like, it's not good. They got to wipe them off with the bib. When he launches this, think about the left has no choice but to hate everything he does. So they're going to have to come out and say that they hate truth, that truth is racist, that truth is bigoted. And it's just the optics of it are going to be so bad. Truth is hateful. Truth is not hateful. It's truth. But they're going to be talking about his social media, but it's just that verbiage. We're going to have so much of those snapshots and those sound bites of people on the left coming out there and saying they hate truth. It's going to be the first time they've ever been honest with anybody that they hate the truth. And it's true. And you look at these mandates, what happened with the nursing homes, like we were just saying, that like I call them the party of death because these people are just obsessed with how many people die. I mean, could we maybe on CNN, can we maybe on left-wing media run a story about how many people recovered from COVID so that there's a little bit more hope and cheer in the world other than thinking that we're dealing with a mass extinction event? Can we maybe go out there and say that, yes, we want you to go ahead and get your vaccination. But if you have natural immunity, you have something stronger than the vaccination. Absolutely. We're not making this up. This is something that happened. Can we look into maybe a theory that I've talked to with a few medical workers and said, look, maybe your antibodies are only there for 6 to 8 months. Let's say you get COVID in April, you get over it, you have 8 months worth of antibodies, and your antibodies expire, so to speak, or wane away, and you still have your memory T's and B's, and I get it, in December. Maybe that's when they go away. But if you encounter the virus in October, so while you still have antibodies, does your antibody clock restart? Do you get a fresh 8 months of antibodies if you're re-exposed again? And there's a lot of people, Rand Paul, a lot of people who are getting their antibodies tested now, and they still have antibodies 15, 16, 17 months after the last time they know they had the virus. Sure. So listen, I was exposed again at the last after I had COVID. I know I was exposed again, a little while ago because I know somebody who had it. By the way. Right. I know somebody who had it and I did not get sick. My question is now, are my antibodies going to still expire in December because I had the infection in April, or because I know I was exposed again back in the beginning of September? Do I have a fresh 8 months? Am I on month 1 or month 2 now of that clock? We should look into this, because if that's what goes on, if you have natural immunity and you continue to expose yourself to the virus, perhaps herd immunity is the way. I don't know. Sweden seems to think it's the way. There's no restrictions over there anymore. Florida seems to think it's the way. Well, now in the South, they don't have as much of a problem in the winter because everybody's outside. In the summer, it spikes because everybody comes indoors, right? And everything spreads inside. In the North, the winter's a bad season for COVID because everybody's indoors. And in the summer, a lot of people are outdoors, so the numbers are lower. This is going to be a seasonal thing. It isn't going away. But one thing that we see, Steve Ballone, I mean, he just got COVID. Yep. He's fully vaccinated. And I'm not saying this as a ha-ha, you got it. It sucks to be you. No, I hope he's fine. I hope he makes it through. I don't want to see any ill will. Colin Powell just passed away. Rest in peace. Thoughts and prayers with the family. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? He was fully vaccinated. And yes, there were complications. He was dealing with a blood cancer, which is tragic also. You know what I mean? No one's hoping. Now, the left, when Dan Bongino had cancer, we're sending him, hope this is it for you, right? You know what I mean? Like literally, if you look at the filth, and they call us hateful. Yeah, so when you look, hateful. And like I said, the left, the Democrat Party, our ideological opponents, they hate you. I hope you understand this. A guy like Rob Calarco, who is tied to the hip to Andrew Cuomo, I don't think he likes you very much, because if he did, maybe he would work a little harder to improve things in that district, which he hasn't done over the last 10 years. These people, and Dan Bongino says this all the time, we believe that liberals are people with bad ideas, right? They're people, they have some bad ideas, and we can look at the motives between those bad ideas one way or the other. Sure. Liberals believe that we are bad people with ideas. Absolutely. And so because we're bad people, our ideas are bad. Well, the reason why they think our ideas are bad is because we are a threat to governmental power.
Yep.
That's how they live. That's how they thrive. That's how they survive. And so a guy like Calarco, who wants to write legislation into law to fund his campaigns for re-election, hello, now you know why he hates
ballot,
you.
by the way.
Right?
Never hit a ballot.
Never hit a ballot.
Never hit a ballot. And you know what? Listen, I don't know how much time we have, but we have to talk about those ballot proposals. What a nightmare! Listen, folks, tell everybody you know. If you're part of the law majority and say I just don't like that Dominick Thorne, I'm not voting for him. Fine, whatever. That's democracy. But at the end of the day, you have to get on the phone. You have to talk to all your friends, your relatives, your neighbors, the babysitter, the dog walker, whoever it is. Those ballot proposals are dangerous. They're going to legalize corruption in your voting service. That's a big problem. Same-day registration, no way to verify where they came from, where, they could just bust people in and your voice will be drowned forever. It's not just about Republicans taking a hit, but this is another socialistic way to try to shut down the voice. The name of your organization, obviously short, is Loud Majority. Get loud on this. Be really loud on this. Vote no on all those propositions on the back. We cannot have same-day registration. We can't have no excuse absentee that, Sparky the dog at 123 Main Street gets a ballot, and we have no idea when they came back. Several other ballot issues are on there. You must get out and say no. And they paint it beautiful, and it's such a pretty package. Look at what we're doing for the taxpayers. Read into these and read them good, because at the end of it, these are just horrible laws. And the only effort is to shut down the conservative Republican voice, shut down the American voice, and steal elections. In Suffolk County, I'm happy to say, and it's no secret, I worked there at the Board of Elections. But in Suffolk County, if you cast your ballot in the machine, your vote counts. And we've seen that with the Trump race at 95%. Your ballot counts here in this county. With these laws, if these ballot propositions pass, your voice will be lost in the sauce. We must make sure that we protect the integrity of elections. If I win or lose on November, and I'm looking for a big win, not just for me, and not for me actually at all, for you,
right? For
you, the taxpayers,
right?
But if I win or lose, at the end of the day, we must make sure the integrity is sustained. And these are dangerous. These are socialistic laws. These are, you can put a beautiful rock in a box and put it in a fancy bow with expensive, it's still a rock in a box.
Right. Lipstick on a pig.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that would be fun to see, just a point of interest. But it's still a horrible laws, horrible way of trying to circumvent the American process, and we absolutely have to stop it. So please vote no.
And I have it on the screen, and I apologize. I don't know what's going on with this with the camera. I know it's flashing back and forth on that, but yeah, no. I think it might just be one of the cables or something. We could look into that, but I'm going to jump back over. But when you look at it, we have it on the screen. Ballot Prop 1. We'll go through it right now because this is super important. I mean, we hear everything about, well, we're not going to have a 2022 if we don't fix 2020. And I know there's a lot of questions because of the last election about voter fraud and the vote and the integrity of the vote. And Dom was saying that, he worked Board of Elections, and if you use those machines, your vote counts. Please listen. He worked there. Look, he's running in a race. Okay. Let me do we're going to reset because I know there's a lot of people who don't trust the machine still.
Sure.
All right. Look, he used Dominick Thorne, the Suffolk County legislator candidate in District 7, who used to work for Board of Elections, is telling you what happened. Still does work for Board, is telling you that there is nothing wrong with the machines, and he's actively in a race against a Democrat. Okay. Sure. Now, don't you think if there was a problem with the machines, maybe he would know a little something about it? Because he's in a race. Like, imagine being in a race and defending something that is rigged, that you're going to lose. Right. You think he's going to be sitting here going, it's fine? No, of course not. So understand this. Look, you want to say trust the expert. I'm going to trust somebody who works in the Board of Elections who said if you cast a vote in Suffolk County in one of those machines, your vote counts. Okay. And even if you're one of these voters and you still think that, hey, something fishy is going on. Okay. Overwhelm the fishiness then. Go out there and flood these elections. You understand Local elections is all about turnout.
Yep.
You're in an off election year. There's a lot of people with Smithtown Library, number one, had no idea there was an election going on.
Sure.
There were a ton of people before we came about that had no idea that there were local, oh, you could vote for county leg. Yeah, you could vote for county leg. That's how these people get there. They don't just walk into office and have it unless sometimes some people run unopposed, and that is what unfortunately happens. But the machines are fine, but look at these. You want to see a way to stop rigged elections? It's right here. Proposition 1, redistricting amendment.
Sure,
Weakens the independent redistricting process enacted by voters in 2014 before it's been allowed to work. All right. Now, what does this mean? You're a board of elections guy. What is this redistricting plan? If I trip over that word one more time, I'm going to cut my tongue out. What is this redistricting plan, and what does that mean for the resident and the taxpayer?
Okay, so 2 things, and I think it's really important because I'm a big integrity guy, right? So I want everyone to know, and I'm sure that the opposition is watching this podcast as well.
They do all the time. They're our biggest fans. They're the first one on the stream, and they're the first one. They're the first ones on the stream, and the last one's off. It's incredible.
I will tell you this. So yes, I work for the Board of Elections. I staff some polling places. We have my commissioner, Commissioner Loda, who is a Republican commissioner, does an outstanding job protecting our vote and our integrity. I don't touch any of the machines in my district. I don't touch any of the ballots in my district. I can't be in any of the polling places except my own to vote, of course.
Right.
During this whole process of 9 days early voting. So I make it very clear. I will always support integrity, win or lose, because that's the American way. That's what we do.
Right.
So redistricting, let's get to that.
Yes.
Holy cow. So here's what happens. In my district, I'm top heavy. I have about 2,000 more Democrats. But let's say I get nice and close, or certainly I win. What they want to do is redistrict the areas to be favorable to certain candidates or certain parties. So we'll make sure that we redistrict it, and we kill any area where the strong Republican voice is heard. We're going to kill it. We're going to kill those areas by chopping it up. We're going to put, a lot of heavy Democratic areas. And we're not talking about zip codes or ethnicity. We're talking about political affiliation.
Right.
Right. So what they're going to do is they're going to chop that whole area up to make sure that the conservative or Republican voice, or even those folks that are unaffiliated that tend to lean right, that we chop that up. That's what that does. And that's not good. It's not good. It happened in LD 7 years ago. That's how we're top heavy. And folks, if you can't get into a 50-50 fight or a fair fight, and I've been in an unfair fight, but, we're jumping in with both feet. There goes the bell, round 2. We're going to get them. But at the end of the day, you have to have integrity, and you can't gerrymander. You can't ballast harbor. You can't go after these districts because they vote Republican, because they vote conservative, because they vote on the right side or American issues that they feel and that you and I feel are very important for our country.
Right. And now the second one here is same-day voter registration, which you kind of just mentioned, but why don't you expand on that and how that invites? It says here, invitations to voter fraud. I love it when we talk about all of these things, when we talk about it in a factual way. So how would you, now obviously same-day voter registration, you could walk into a poll, right? You could walk into a voting place, a polling place.
I live here now.
And just say, I live on 123 ABC Street, and my name is, Johnny Ballgame.
Right.
And sure, Johnny Ballgame, go vote. Right. How on earth is that safe? Are they checking IDs? Are they allowed to check IDs?
No. And that's another problem. And, I as one of the people that answer the phones over there, certainly I get that question all the time. I believe in voter fraud. Well, so do I. But the state law says you're not allowed to ask for it.
Right.
Period.
Right.
The only time we check ID is when you did not supply it to us on the registration form.
Right.
So you don't supply it on the registration form, the information we need to verify who you are and where you live, and it's the last 4 of your social or your driver's license number, and that's how we verify. And there's a verification process. Same-day voter registration, not possible. There's no way of verifying them. No way of verifying them. And you have a certain time to certify the vote, right? So at the end at that day, what's going to happen is that they're going to vote, they're going to register, and we have no idea. They could have just been bussed in from, Hoboken, New Jersey to vote and say, hey, I just moved here. I moved on 123 Main Street, and I live here now. Let me vote. And that bus can just go from polling place to polling place and vote and vote and vote and vote and vote. And there'd be no way of catching it. So I am dead set against SameDay registration. There is limits for a reason, not to restrict the vote, Sean. Nobody wants to restrict anybody's vote, but what we do want to make sure is that you are a Suffolk County resident to vote in the Suffolk County races.
Of course.
And it's very important that we don't allow that to pass, because how do we track it?
Right.
What stops them from hopping in their car from, I'll pick a polling place, Barton Avenue, polling place, and then going to, PS 129 in Queens,
right,
to vote again? What stops them?
Nothing. Nothing.
So very dangerous.
It's very dangerous. And that's something that's ballot proposition number 3 when you flip that over. And number 4 is something that we've seen, no excuse absentee voting. So you used to have a reason for requesting the absentee ballot. And then COVID happened, which was something that Mark Elias, the Democrat election lawyer, was trying to do before COVID was a twinkle in China's eye, right? It was, when Mark Elias was out there suing in states like Michigan and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and Arizona and North Carolina and Georgia. And oh my goodness, if all of those states sound familiar to you, yes, those were the states that took forever to count. It's very weird when you see that, right? So when you look at what Mark Elias was doing, and he was suing with the very first episode of what we did here, was I talked about it. I said, Mark Elias, it wasn't the machines, it was the mail. It was the cheat by mail. Mark Elias was running a lawsuits. He was suing in all of these districts and these states nationwide to try and expand the absentee ballot program and take away the excuse, or be able to give everyone greater access to the absentee ballot. In other words, they can flood the mail system with the ballots, right? Sure. So no excuse absentee voting is something that really took off through COVID. Elias didn't even have to sue anymore for it, because all these states illegally changed their election laws. And now COVID became the reason why you can get an absentee ballot. And this state has actually done it. I've had people show me. I've been shown physical copies of ballot applications where all of it, the reasons are pre-filled out. Yep. That COVID-19 was the reason why you wanted an absentee ballot. So they want to be able to make that a permanent fixture here in New York, which means
that was executive order.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That came from with the emergency powers. We got to keep New York. We have to keep New Yorkers safe, right? Keep New Yorkers safe. Except he wants to. I'm not going to say it. I don't want to give everyone. But listen, here's the proposition. The legislature may, by general law, provide a manner in which and the time and place at which qualified voters may vote, and for the return and canvass of their votes in any election. It eliminates the requirement for absentee voting that the voter be absent from the county or unable to appear at the polling place. That's what an absentee ballot is. If you're unable to get out and vote, you have a disability, you have an illness, you have a medical problem, you're not in the state, you're halfway across the country, you're on a business trip in France, I don't know where the hell you are. That's what an absentee ballot is. But it's your responsibility, if you're here, to go to your polling place and vote, so long as you're physically able. They're trying to tell you that because this virus isn't going away, that you should be terrified of this virus for the rest of your life, and that's a reason to never leave your house, and that's also a reason that we're just going to mail you your ballots. And like you said, Sparky the dog in District 7 could wind up with a ballot. And
I'll lose a vote to Sparky.
Of course, and as much as I want a husky, I wouldn't trade it with. I wouldn't want that dog to be tasked with voting in an election, because who the hell knows what it's going to do.
You know what's crazy here is that you have 9 days early voting, which the taxpayers in Suffolk County pick up, by the way. State mandate, but the taxpayers in Suffolk County pay for. But you have 9 days early voting. 9 days to get to the polls.
Right.
9.
And it's supposed to be election day, not election season.
Day.
Yeah.
Well, that's another problem.
Yeah.
And that undoubtedly is going to expand, and maybe it should, maybe it shouldn't. I'm not going to get into those particulars.
Sure.
And that's something we have to look at, because we really want to make sure residents can vote.
Everyone should have the chance to vote, but within reason, though, too. Election day is a federal holiday. There are laws in place where, you could take the first 2 hours of your job. Yeah. There's laws. Your employer has to give you time to vote.
You get a receipt for voting now, so you can bring it back to your local place and say, look, boss, I voted, and they'll give you time for it.
Right.
And also, I mean, there is multiple spots throughout the whole county. And let me be clear, Sean, if you live in Patchogue, the great village of Patchogue, and you happen to find yourself in Babylon, you're like, oh, I didn't go vote on the early voting today. Early voting, you can vote. If you're a Suffolk County voter, you can vote anywhere, because it's a network thing the way they do it. So they'll be able to pull up a Suffolk County voter anywhere in the county at any early voting spots. How much easier does it get? Then you have your absentee ballot that you have to apply for. It makes no sense not to. You can't fill out a piece of paper. Let's say you are terrified. And then listen, there are a lot. I have a dear mother-in-law from my first marriage I love very much, and she's afraid to leave the house. But she applied for an absentee ballot, and she got an absentee ballot. It's funny how that works. Huh?
Right.
So there's no reason for no excuse absentee ballot. That's enough. That is, again, legalizing voter fraud.
Right.
Because we send that, you'll send the, and by the way, the Board of Elections has to follow the law. Period. We're a governmental agency. We're going to follow the law.
Right.
And law says we have to do it. Well, we're going to do it because we have to.
Right.
But that's why we have to vote this proposition down. All of them. Listen, flip it over. No. Like Nancy Reagan. Just say no.
Just say no.
Yeah, just say no to these ballot propositions because they're dangerous. They're going to hurt our democracy. They're going to hurt our integrity of our elections. And we must say no to these.
Yeah, that's a very important thing. If you want to secure the election, there is no, everyone's been saying it, there's no 2022 if there's not, these reforms that are done. And it's the same thing. There's no 2024. Listen, if we lose these propositions, we're going to lose, period, for the rest of the time. There's no way to counteract this. So get back behind that and vote no on those propositions that were just on your screen. Yeah. What do you have going on this weekend? You said there's something going on Saturday, right?
The Brookhaven Republican Committee is going to be holding a blitz. I hope it's not my facial features that flipping out your camera. There it goes.
I don't know why it's doing that, but it's
well, it's good. It's like a little flash.
It's a strobe. Yeah, he's like here and there. He's gone. Right.
But Suffolk County Board of Suffolk County Board of Elections. And by the way, let me be clear about this. I don't represent. I don't have the authority to represent the Board of Elections. I just want to make sure I cover that.
Right.
I speak of it because I know of it. But I don't certainly have no, our Commissioner Loder is the official spokesman as far as I'm concerned for the Board of Elections. The Suffolk County GOP is holding a blitz on Saturday up at their headquarters on 112.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, I for some reason I forget her name escapes me. Her son is out with me all the time. You guys have been amazing. But we have to push this final thing. So we're going to be doing some more blitzing on Saturday at headquarters.
What time?
I think it starts at 10. I'll give you a call. We'll
okay.
put it up on your webpage.
Yes.
You would.
And what's the address?
That's I want to say 3150 Brookhaven Town address.
We'll get that exact information out.
All the exact information. I was supposed to look it up. I didn't do my homework, Sean.
Okay.
I apologize.
Not a problem. Maybe he didn't do his homework because he was taught critical race theory in the schools. I have no idea. Yeah. But and there's a lot of people who want updates on that too. I'm not going to go into that today because there's just so much more that we're talking about local elections and what to do to get this man elected, Dominick Thorne, District 7. Dom, who can vote for you? Because some people don't know where District 7 is. Yeah, what towns do you cover?
It's a little confusing. So District 7 starts about about Blue Point Avenue in Blue Point. All the way through most of Blue Point. Then we go into all of the Patchogues, North Patchogue, East Patchogue, every part of Patchogue, little piece of North Belport. We go up into Medford. We go up into Gordon Heights. And by the way, we're going to do so many great things up in that neighborhood. I've been meeting with a bishop up there. Talk about a forgotten neighborhood. 3080. You are amazing.
3080 Route 112 in Medford is the place to meet Dom. Right. 10 o'clock Saturday.
So we go into Gordon Heights and the south end of Middle Island. And these, what I call the forgotten neighborhoods.
Right.
These neighborhoods historically have been overlooked, and we put a lot of money in certain areas. Get flip off me if you have.
No, keep going.
Okay.
It's crazy.
So at the district lines, we are in a really island, Middle Island and Fire Island, because we have a couple of houses on Fire Island as well that we have to handle too. So it's a huge district, and call your neighbors, call your friends, like we said about the other things. Please, it's amazing what it used to be something called the center of influence list.
Right.
That and you'd call them, or you reach out, you send them a postcard. Listen, this is who I believe in, this is who I'm voting for, and just keep going along and plugging along. And if you get to talk to one or you get to talk to 100, every vote counts in a local race.
Right.
Every single one. There have been races decided in this county in most recent years by 3-4 votes.
Yep.
We have to motivate our base. We have to get our voters out. And, it's not just a Republican base. And listen, I'm a proud Republican. I say it a million times, but let's motivate the American people. Let's get to those people who have had enough and get them to the polls.
That's awesome. And listen, so we have also 8:30 in the morning on Saturday at Smithtown headquarters, 55 East Main Street in Smithtown. It's a meet and greet with Ray Tierney, the district attorney candidate out in Suffolk County. So all of Suffolk County can vote for Ray Tierney. He's a very good man. He's a qualified prosecutor, but he's a cool dude. And from what we understand, we're going to have him on here as well. Hopefully, we'll have a different HDMI cable. I think that cable just might be a little bugged out. I'll check that and troubleshoot that out today. But it's a meet and greet with Ray Tierney and a lit drop on Saturday morning as well, 8:30 a.m. Smithtown headquarters, 55 East Main Street in Smithtown. And then when you're done out over there, you're shaking hands, you're meeting Ray. You're going to head out over to Dom Thorne at 10 o'clock, 3080 Route 112 in Medford. We're going to be helping them out there. It's time. This is it. Really, the last 2 weeks. Last 2 weeks are coming up. We got our Halloween rally next Saturday, the 30th, and there's going to be a lot of us that are out and getting the energy ready to go for the momentum to roll into that Tuesday, November 2nd election. I do believe it's also being talked about for the Nassau County people that on Monday evening, and if you're from Suffolk and you want to come, but Monday evening from, I would say, let's go 5 to 8, 6 to 8, we will be back at the Belmore train station, just throwing a nice little get together, come down, rally at the train station for a little bit to get that energy going. We need energy and enthusiasm rolling into those Tuesday, November 2nd elections this year to do both. The way we could vote for Ann Donnelly, we could vote for Bruce Blakeman out in Nassau County. Those two, you got Ray Tierney out here, Steph Bontempi up in Huntington. You got Dom Thorne, District 7. Yeah. You got Ray Tierney, the entire Suffolk County. Suffolk County can vote for him for district attorney. And we have those important propositions to vote down on the back of the ballot. We're going to be sending out that flyer. It's going to be posted everywhere as we get closer to the election. Screenshot it, print it out, hang it up in your supermarket, post it to your telephone poles. Tell your neighbors, everybody, not to let these propositions pass. It is really important to get out and vote in numbers. They say vote early and vote often. Well, vote once because you don't want to be what you accuse them of doing and commit voter fraud, but vote. Most importantly, get out and vote.
It's too late for absentee now.
Yeah.
It's too late. You can't get an absentee ballot now, so you got to go to early voting or go to the polls. And listen, what a great thing to do is you have a favorite candidate, someone you really love, and hopefully that's me, of course. But take a piece from their Facebook page, Mine is Citizens for Dominick Thorne. Take a piece or a copy of their sign. I put my signs up there and put it up there and say, hey, all my friends, this is who I'm supporting, even though I can't vote for them. And put it on your Facebook page. 6 degrees of separation, right?
Right.
You know somebody, you just maybe don't know that they live in a district.
Right.
So put it out there. Flood Facebook, flood your social media. There's so many things you can do. Every little bit helps. Every little square inch helps. Every voter helps. Every piece of media coverage helps. All of that helps because when you're going against a guy like I'm going against, every vote is going to count.
Absolutely.
But we're going to bring home a win for all of you.
I'm excited to do it. District 7, it's been a quick hour with Suffolk County Legislature candidate Dominick Thorne, District 7. He's out there. We're gonna see him out there Saturday. He's been with us from the very beginning. He has not been afraid to say that he stands with the loud majority, and we're not afraid to say that we stand with Dom Thorne. Why would we be afraid? But I could remember back at the Stony Brook Turning Point USA rally when the guy was interrupting Dom and said, "You know nothing about God," and I'm like, "You're saying that to the wrong person."
God bless you, brother. Sit down.
But Dom just looked at him and said, "This guy's a lunatic," and he kept going, and no problems. And so we are happy to call Dom, not just a supporter of ours, but a friend of ours and an ally to us. And we're excited to see just how much we, the people, can make a difference out in District 7. It's going to be incredible. The first time you ran, you were much closer than many people even gave you credit for.
They thought I was just, a paper candidate, as they call it.
Right.
Well, folks, I first off, when I carry the Republican or conservative line, I am never a paper candidate.
No.
I believe in what we believe in. I believe in the core values. So, we came in at 41.5% against an 8-year incumbent as an unknown. Well, it's a different day and it's a different environment. We're fighting hard. We have a much better organized campaign. We have folks like Loud Majority. You go give it to yourselves. Awesome. Behind us, Victims Pack New York. And listen, if you hadn't heard yet, I'm proud to admit that the Veterans for More Responsive Government has gone against the trend and looked at the candidates and has endorsed my candidacy.
Very nice.
So it's great to have them on board too.
That's incredible. So Dom's picking up endorsements all over the place. He's got ours. You know that we posted that about a month and a half ago.
Sure.
So we've been a supporter of Dom's. Our group has been a supporter of Dominick Thorne since the very beginning. We want to see it happen in District 7. We want to take back the Suffolk County Legislature. We want that majority going into 2022. It's the first step in taking back our state, saving our county, saving our state, saving our country. It starts right here with the guy sitting right next to me, Dominick Thorne, District 7. Thank you guys to everybody who came on and watched today. We will be very active as we continue on this weekend and into the November 2nd elections. If you want, go to our website, officialloudmajority.com or loudmajorityus.com. You cannot post it on Facebook. It is marked as spam. Be careful. And also, my Instagram, my personal Instagram handle is now persona non grata. I am not allowed to be tagged in anything. So good luck to everybody. But our group Instagram at Loud Majority is still under the radar. So go over to there. Check us out on there. Facebook. Look at our page, Long Island Loud Majority, the community organization page. Check out our website. Sign up for the newsletter. You can find Dominick Thorne on Facebook. Where can they find you?
Citizens for Dominick Thorne is the Facebook page.
Citizens for Dominick Thorne.
Sure.
So there you go on Facebook. You can check them out there.
Friends anyway, so far. So that's great.
That's right.
I had a lot of friends.
And we need everybody's help. All hands on deck going into the special, not special elections, but the very important November 2nd elections.
Huge.
And we are working hard. So thank you, Dom, for jumping on today.
Awesome to be here.
And we're excited to keep working with you to make this happen. Hey, guys, in the face of the overreaching government mandates and the tyranny and the all these executive orders, right? In the face of critical race theory in your schools and the indoctrination of children and also the indoctrination of teachers, now that we have some inside information, and in the face of the intentional destruction of the United States of America, we say it over and over and over. We say these words clearly and louder than anybody's ever said them before. Okay, we will not comply. That's what we do here. We will not comply. Never show papers. Keep up the good fight. We will see you guys out there active this weekend. Sunday, October 24th is a fundraiser for Lee Zeldin at the America First Warehouse, 3 to 7 p.m. Dom will be there. We will be there. Also, Show Me Your Face New York is going up to Albany. They're going to throw Kathy Hochul a little party outside of the governor's mansion. So they're going to say hi to Kathy. So while we're out here with Lee, they're going to be up there hanging out and telling Kathy Hochul, hey, and telling her your days are politically numbered because we don't want to say, their days are numbered. They're threatening her. Your days are numbered in Albany. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching today. Thanks to Dom Thorne for joining us. Get out and vote November 2nd, District 7, Dominick Thorne. And until Monday morning, folks, I want you to stop complying. And I would love it if you would just stay loud. Thank you guys. Have a great weekend, and we'll catch you Monday morning.